Okay, real talk. Are you listening while doing three other things? Like, are you making dinner and responding to texts and mentally planning tomorrow's schedule? Yeah? Okay. I see you. You know what's wild? I bet if I asked you to stop doing all those things and just sit still for 5 minutes, I'm gonna guess, I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess that you might begin to have a mini panic attack. Because if you're anything like me and the thousands of women I've worked with, then somewhere along the way, you learned that your value is in your productivity. That love looks like doing everything for everyone else. That you better look busy just because you should be busy. That's why you should look busy, because you're just believe you should be busy. That like sitting is somehow dangerous. Resting is, wait, what? What? I had a client tell me last week that she didn't know how to just be. She said, like, if I'm not useful, if I'm not taking care of something or someone, I feel like I'm wasting space or I'm going to get in trouble. But like, I'm 47, who am I going to get in trouble with? Oof, Deborah, right in the hearts, you know? I mean, calling us all in. This is what I call the overfunctioning trap. It's when you've become the person who just handles everything. You're the one who remembers everyone's birthdays, plans all the gatherings, keep track of who needs what, when, where, why. You're the emotional project manager of everyone else's life. And listen, people love you for it. They're always like, oh my God, what would we do without you? You're so amazing. You're so organized. You're the glue that holds everything together. And listen, part of you feels proud of that. I get it. But I'm gonna guess, and I'm not saying I know, but I'm gonna guess that part of you also feels trapped. Because what if you stopped spinning those plates? What if you weren't the one who fixed everything? What if you stopped being constantly anxious and constantly worried and constantly 47 steps ahead? What then? Listen, I hear you. I get it. And I coach on this like every single day because this is us, baby. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Overfunctioning for people we love. Living their lives for them, managing their lives for them, spinning all the everything for them, it isn't actually love. It's anxiety or rumination and emotional outsourcing masquerading as love. Because underneath all that doing and managing and taking care of, there's this voice that says, if I don't need this, they won't need me. And if they don't need me, they'll leave. And then, well, the lions will come and I'll be lunch because humans are pack animals. And if there aren't others in my pack, I'm toast. Or, just as popular, I will die cold and alone on a mountaintop, right? This is emotional outsourcing, our codependent, perfectionist, and people-pleasing habits in a very sneaky form. You're outsourcing your sense of worth to how much you can do for other people. Your safety depends on being indispensable. But let me tell you what this really looks like, because it's not just about being helpful, it's about control. I had a client, Monica, who would literally clean her teenage son's bedroom when he was out at school. Not because he asked. Not because it was even like so disgusting because I asked her that. I was like, is this a health code violation? She was like, no. But because she couldn't handle the anxiety of not knowing if he'd have a clean space when he got home. And when I asked her why she did this, she said, I just want him to feel cared for. And I bet that was part of it, right? Of course, we always, in this familia, in my world, we always start from the premise that we are good, loving, kind people, and we trust that, and then we ask curious questions. Because while Monica, of course, loved her son, wanted to care for him, totally, here's the reality underneath that reality. Monica wasn't just caring for her son. She was managing her own anxiety about whether he felt cared for and what that would mean for and about her. She was managing her fear that if his room was messy, he'd think she was a bad mom. She was managing her terror that if she didn't do everything perfectly, he might not need her anymore. She was managing her worry that it wouldn't seem like she had earned her keep. Because growing up, love was conditional. And the condition was her productivity. Capitalism. Am I right? So understanding where that came from, we can give Monica so much love and care. We can give you so much love and care. And we can also say that managing our own anxiety by taking care of others is not actually love. It's control, wearing a cute little heart-covered love costume. Like, you know those little, like at Valentine's Day, someone might put their pug in like a little bumblebee of love costume with little hearts on it? It's that. The devastating part of this, to like rapidly switch gears on you, is that it's teaching everyone around you that you don't trust them to handle their own lives. I'm going to let that one land. You do not trust them to handle their own lives, or else you wouldn't insert yourself into it and take over it and control it. When you constantly anticipate everyone's needs and meet them before they even ask, you're sending a message. I don't think you're capable of figuring this out on your own. When you rescue people from consequences, when you smooth over every conflict, when you do things for people that they could do themselves, you're not helping them, you're disabling them. I see this with my clients all the time. The mom who still packs lunch for her college-age kid when they come home, the wife who calls her husband's boss when he's sick because he forgets to do these things, the friend who always plans everything because everyone else is so busy. Like, she's not. You think you're being loving. And when we do these things on rare occasion, sure, pack the lunch. It's nice. Plan the vacation for your friends here and there. But mutuality and reciprocity, right? But we don't do it from that energy. We do it from controlling because we want the outcome to be the outcome we want. And so what you're actually doing is training the people in your life to be helpless and then resenting them for being helpless. Because that's the other part nobody talks about. The resentment and the rage it carries. Because you're doing everything for everyone and they're just sitting back and letting you. They're not appreciating it the way you want them to. They're not reciprocating the way you think they should. They're taking it for granted, which means, of course, they're taking you for granted. And on some level, tell me if I'm wrong, but you're furious. But you can't say anything because you're the one who set this dynamic up. You're the one who trained them to expect you to handle everything. So the resentment just builds. And builds and builds until you're exploding about dishes in the sink or someone forgetting to say thank you and everyone's looking at you like you're 27 flavors of banana boat. But you've not lost your sanity. You're exhausted. You're exhausted from rigorously doing a job that nobody asked you to do, nobody wants you to do, nobody expected you to do. And here's the really effed up part. The people who benefit from your overfunctioning start to see you as controlling. And it hurts, right? But the truth is you are controlling. You're managing their emotions, their environments, their experiences of life so that you can feel okay. Monica's son told her, "Mom, I can't breathe around you. You're suffocating me. You're always fixing things I didn't even know were broken. I didn't even think were broken." And that's what overfunctioning does to relationships. It suffocates them because the other person never gets to be a full human with their own agency, their own choices, their own consequences. They become a project you're managing instead of a person you're relating to. And the worst part, you lose yourself completely in the process. I had another client, Sarah, who told me she'd been married for 20 years and had no idea what her husband actually liked to eat because she'd been making all the food decisions for so long based on what she thought he should want, what was healthy, what was easy, what made her feel like a good wife. She'd been feeding her own anxiety about being a good partner instead of feeding her actual partner. When she finally asked him what he wanted for dinner, just like straight up asked, he said, "I've been craving Thai food for like 10 years, but I figured you didn't like it because we never get it." 10 years. 10 years of her making decisions for him that he never wanted her to make. That's what happens when you confuse love with management. You start solving problems that don't exist. You start meeting needs that people don't have. You start living in this fantasy where everyone is helpless and you're the only one who can save them. But the truth is, you're not saving anyone. You're robbing them of the chance to save themselves. You're robbing them of the satisfaction of solving their own problems. You're robbing them of their own agency. Unwittingly, for sure. And you're robbing yourself of the chance to be in actual relationship with them. Because when you're managing someone, you're not relating to them. You're relating to your idea of what they need. You're relating to your fear of what happens if you don't do enough. Real love looks different. Real love trusts people to handle their own business. Real love asks, what do you need, instead of assuming you know. Real love lets people struggle sometimes, because struggle is how we grow. Real love doesn't require you to exhaust yourself. Real love doesn't need you to be a martyr. Real love wants you to have needs too. But here's what's so hard about stopping the overfunctioning. When you've been the person who handles everything, when you stop handling everything, stuff falls apart, at least temporarily. There will be dust bunnies under the bed. Someone might be late to an appointment. People might be disappointed. They'll very well be inconvenienced. They might even be mad at you. And your nervous system is likely to interpret that as danger. Because remember, you learn that keeping everyone happy equals staying safe. So when people are unhappy with you for not doing what you've always done, every alarm bell in your body is going to go off. And you're going to want to go right back to managing everything. But that's the test. That's where you find out if people actually love you, or if they just love what you do for them. The people who throw a fit when you stop overfunctioning, the ones who get angry when you start having boundaries, the ones that make you feel guilty for not doing what you've always done, those people don't love you. They love your service. And I know that's painful to hear. But my hope is that it's also liberating. Because now you can begin to know who your actual people are. Because your actual people want you to rest. They want you to have needs, wants, preferences. They want to take care of you sometimes too. And all of this is exactly what I break down in my new book, End Emotional Outsourcing. How to love people without exhausting yourself in the process, and how to figure out if you're actually in the self-abandonment cycle and what to do about it. In the section B, the cake, you'll discover what it means to be whole and complete on your own, plus practical tools for boundaries and direct communication that actually work. The book comes out September 30th, and you can get your hands on it now by pre-ordering at beatricealbina.com/book. Plus, you'll get immediate access to bonus materials that will help you start loving without managing. Stop earning love through exhaustion. My beauty, you can be loved just for being you, not for what you do for everyone else.